Are you enjoying the game today, too?
We certainly hope so.
Because today we are diving into a game that, for me, just screams discovery. It's a real piece of history.
It really is. We're talking about Konami's 1987 Famicom title, Hai no Tori Hououhen, Gaou no Bouken.
Which is quite a mouthful. It translates to the Phoenix chapter Gao's adventure riddle.
That's the one. And its place in history is, well, it's pretty significant. This was the very first piece of Famicom software released in 1987.
The first one.
Yeah.
January 4th. That's what a way for Konami to kick off the year. That's a huge statement.
It absolutely is. They were basically signaling we're here to push the limits, and they did with this really ambitious action-adventure based on Osamu Tezuka's monumental work, Phoenix.
And Tezuka's stuff is. It's legendary. I mean, it's all about rebirth, time travel, the meaning of life itself.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to figure out how Konami's R&D Division 2 took that philosophical epic and somehow squashed it into an 8-bit cartridge defined by a sculptor's chisel and an ogre-faced roof tile.
Exactly. It's this wild transformation from philosophy to platforming, uncovering how they did it and how they used the platformer for creation, not just combat, is the whole point of this deep dive.
I am so ready. The nostalgia is hitting me hard already just thinking about those days where you actually needed the game manual. Let's get into the saga of the time-traveling sculptor.
Okay, so let's set the stage. It's a side-scrolling action-adventure, obviously for the Famicom, or family computer, and the tech here is important. Konami used a 1 megabit ROM.
It's huge for early 87.
Huge. It was a 128 KB ROM plus 64 kilobits of RAM. That kind of configuration allowed them to do things with graphics and sound that a lot of other titles just couldn't touch.
Right, you can see it in the detail. Other games had, repeating backgrounds and tons of sprite flicker. This one felt solid.
It did. Now, the source material is the 1986 animated film of Tezuka's Phoenix chapter, or Hououhen. It's also worth noting there was an MSX2 version that same year, but it's a completely different game.
Oh yeah, that was more of an action shooter, right. A totally different beast.
Exactly. We're focused squarely on this Famicom platformer.
Okay, so walk us through the story, because this is where the deep spiritual journey takes a sharp turn into collect all the shiny things.
A very sharp turn. So the protagonist is Gaou. In the manga, he's this violent bandit who finds redemption and becomes a master sculptor. In the game, he's already a master sculptor. He's made this beautiful phoenix statue, and it gets stolen. And not just stolen, it's shattered into 16 panels that are scattered across 3 different time periods.
Of course it is. Classic video game setup.
And Gaou has to travel through time to get them all back. Now, this is the really controversial part. The manga is this deep spiritual journey about karma, focusing on Gaou and his rival, Akanemaru.
Right.
The game just throws all of that away. The philosophical depth is completely replaced by a physical quest. Gaou is on his own. All these key characters, Akanemaru, the dog Buchi, Hayame, they are totally absent from the gameplay.
Wait, they're not in it at all?
They're on the box art. That's it. It's like a suggestion of the lore that they completely stripped out.
Wow, that's almost funny. But the biggest change, the one that always gets me, is what our newly enlightened hero, Gaou, actually does in the game.
It's hilarious if you know the source material. The enlightened Gaou of the manga is past violence. The game's Gaou. He's running around using his sculpting chisel, his nomi, as a weapon.
He's just chucking chisels at everything.
Everything. Little animals, ghosts, aliens, you name it. Even human-sized officials and bandits. He's weaponized his art.
It's like Konami went, okay, themes of creation and craftsmanship, that's cool.
Yeah.
But what if B button makes you shoot?
That's pretty much it. But that pivot, turning the sculptor's tools into the game mechanics, is actually what makes the whole system so brilliant. Which brings us to the core mechanic. The Onigawara system.
The roof tiles.
Okay.
Let's break this down. First, the chisel. Your only attack.
Your only attack. It's a short-range projectile. B button to fire horizontally, or up plus B to fire straight up. And, to keep things moving, most enemies die in just one hit.
Keeps the pace up. But the real star of the show is the Onigawara, the ogre-faced roof tile.
The absolute star. So you press down plus B, and Gaou places a tile directly beneath his feet. Or if you're in the air, he drops one straight down.
And this is everything. It's not just a power-up.
No, it's the core of how you move and solve problems. Konami essentially forced the player to engage in an act of creation. You're not just jumping, you're building your own platforms.
I remember building bridges over giant pits or making these makeshift staircases to climb up huge walls. It was like a very primitive form of multi-jumping.
Exactly. But here's where the tension comes in. The tiles are a limited resource. You can hold a max of 99.
And getting them back is frantic. You kill an enemy, it turns into this little tile icon.
Right. Orange in the Yamato stages, purple in the future stages.
And you have to grab it fast. If you hesitate, it just sticks to the ground and it's gone.
The panic of that is so real. You get to a huge gap, you look at your tile count, and you have like 3 left, and you know you need 4.
Oh, that feeling. The absolute worst. It forces you to stop thinking like a fighter and start thinking like, well, a resource manager.
You're constantly calculating. And the tiles have other uses too, right? You can use them for defense, to block projectiles, or even to trap enemies on the ground that you can't hit otherwise.
And then there's that ultimate moment of failure, that soft lock. You've misplaced your last tile, you're stuck in a pit, there's no way out.
Which is why Konami, in their wisdom, gave you the select button.
The self-destruct button.
It was the ultimate oops button. You just hit select, you lose a life, and you restart the stage. It's like they were admitting, yeah, we know you're going to mess up your scaffolding. Just start over.
A brilliant bit of design, really. So if creation is the key, what kind of world were we creating in? Let's talk about the stages.
The scope is incredible for the time. There are 16 stages across 3 different eras.
We got Yamato, which is like the past or present, temples, forests, that kind of thing. 8 stages there.
Right. Then you jump to Rays, which is the far future.
Right.
5 stages of metal, neon, and these weird biomechanical enemies.
And finally, Taiko, the primeval age. Volcanoes, ice caves, dinosaurs, just 3 stages, but they are chaotic.
The aesthetic difference is just, it's stunning. Yamato is that classic earthy Konami look. Rays is where they just went wild with Famicom's color palette.
But getting between them wasn't straightforward.
Yeah.
The game is non-linear, and it all depends on finding these hidden warp zones. Time slips.
That's the real puzzle of the game. If you don't find a warp, the stages just loop. You can go from Yamato 1 all the way to 7, and then you're right back at Yamato 1.
You're just stuck in this time loop, which is actually kind of fitting for a game based on Phoenix. You're doomed to repeat the past until you find a way out.
It's a clever bit of thematic design, yeah. But finding that way out, that required knowledge that felt like a secret whispered on the playground.
Oh, here we go. This is the part that drove me crazy as a kid.
The hidden mechanic.
The mandatory hidden mechanic. So warp zones and some of the key items, they're hidden inside these destructible blocks. But you can shoot them all day with your chisel, and nothing happens. Nothing. And the solution is... it's so weird.
It's completely counterintuitive. You have to stand on top of the block and then do a super fast crouch jump 3 times in a row.
Crouch, jump, jump, jump. It feels more like a bug they just decided to turn into a feature.
I mean, maybe, but it's required to beat the game, and it's not explained anywhere in the game itself if you didn't have the manual, or a friend who did.
You were just stuck. You couldn't finish the game. It was a filter.
A huge filter. And the ultimate test of this skill was finding Yamato Stage 8.
The legendary hidden stage.
It's totally unique. It has its own tense music. The whole screen is shaking like there's an earthquake. And it's only accessible from one specific warp zone hidden somewhere else. Finding that single spot was the game's biggest challenge.
That's the kind of thing that made these games so special, though. It rewarded you for exploring every single pixel.
It absolutely did. Okay, so let's shift to an overall evaluation. Because despite the weird hidden stuff and the story changes, the game is, it's widely praised for its technical polish.
For sure. The controls are a big plus. Gaou is so light and responsive, especially for a 1987 platformer. A lot of games back then felt so stiff. And you had unlimited continues, which was pretty forgiving.
Yeah, and the art and sound from the Kukiha Club.
Yeah.
Just top-notch. Every era has its own distinct musical identity. You instantly know if you're in the calm of Yamato or the synth chaos of Rays.
I remember the sound effects so clearly. There was this little owl enemy that made a specific hooting sound. The detail is incredible. And that ending scene with the phoenix rising out of the volcano to the movie's theme music.
A truly great moment. It really cemented its reputation for high quality. But we have to talk about the downsides, the controversies.
It wasn't perfect. For one, the difficulty was kind of low.
It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? The exploration is hard, but the combat is easy.
Yeah. Most enemies die in one hit. And the bosses, they look cool, but they all have these really obvious weak spots or safe zones.
Like the mural boss in Yamato 7. It looks huge and scary, but you can just stand right under its mouth and spam the attack button and it can't hit you.
Exactly. There's no real final boss challenge, which can feel a bit anticlimactic.
And then there's the other big issue, which is tied directly to the Onigawara system.
Now,
you can't attack downward.
Oh, that's right, because down plus B is for placing a tile. So you can't crouch and attack, you can't hit enemies on the ground like those little Tsuchinoko snakes.
Or floor-level treasure chests, you can't just hit them.
So the system of creation actually prevents you from doing basic platformer combat.
Which forces you to think like a sculptor again. You can't just fight your way through. To get that chest, you have to, like, dig a hole underneath it or place a tile from above. It encourages you to avoid fights and manipulate the world.
That's a great point. The limitation is actually part of the design philosophy.
One last annoyance, though, is the boss repetition. When you're hunting for that Yamato 8 warp, you have to go through stages you've already beaten.
And the boss is back.
The boss is back. Every single time. They only drop a tile instead of a panel, but it's just tedious to have to fight them over and over.
And don't forget the visuals. Some of those future boss fights with the flashing backgrounds, my eyes, and the constant shaking in Yamato 8, it was a lot.
Konami was definitely pushing the hardware to its absolute limit, maybe a little too far. So let's wrap up with the items and the game's legacy.
The items were classic Konami. The shell, the kai, increases your max health. But if you die, your max health resets. So brutal.
So brutal. Then there's the mirror, the Kagami, which makes you temporarily invincible and lets you pass through walls. But if it wears off while you're in a wall,
you're dead. Or trapped. High risk, high reward.
But the ultimate prize, the best item in the game, is the Konami Man.
Yes, the little caped hero. Finding him was a game changer.
It maxes out your health, heals you completely, and gives you 99 tiles, a full reset.
And of course, they hit him in the most dangerous, hard-to-reach places that required you to be an absolute master of the Onigawara system just to get to him.
Exactly. They made you earn the ultimate reward by mastering the core mechanic. And they also hid other things, like a sound test code and even a stage select. Classic Konami secrets.
So in the end, where does Gaou no Bouken stand? They took this huge, sprawling epic from Tezuka and well, they kind of butchered the story, let's be honest.
They did. The narrative is completely different, and those hidden mechanics were incredibly punishing. But for 1987, it's a technical masterpiece. That Onigawara system, the non-linear exploration, it was so original.
It really was. I miss games that made the manual feel like part of the puzzle, you know?
I think if we're looking at the big picture, the most fascinating thing about this game is how Konami used the limits of a Famicom action game to introduce a crafting mechanic. By letting Gaou change the environment from a static obstacle into a resource he could shape, they basically made one of the very first sandbox platformers.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
That synthesis of the sculptor's identity and the building mechanic, forcing you to literally build your own path forward, that's the real legacy. That's what makes it so special.
Yeah. A beautiful way to put it. Will the game be fun tomorrow, too? Have a nice game.